I am Sun Wu. I have transcended time and returned to this land once more. The strategies I once crafted in The Art of War in my book, The Art of War, are now said to apply to modern corporate strategies. Among them, the battle strategies of Amazon Prime are truly remarkable. Let me get straight to the point. Amazon Prime has dragged its competitors into a war of attrition while controlling its own momentum and change to secure victory. This aligns perfectly with the principles outlined in Military Disposition and Situational Changes chapters of The Art of War. Why should you listen to this now? The answer is simple. If you are involved in business, understanding the essence of this encirclement strategy will arm you with the wisdom to escape the quagmire of price wars. Conversely, those who remain unaware may find themselves unknowingly surrounded by the shadow of a vast army. By bundling logistics, cloud services, and content for an annual fee of $99, Prime has infiltrated the daily lives of consumers. This is not merely a subscription, it is a strategic encirclement that gradually strips competitors of their escape routes and a flexible formation that adjusts to the situation at hand. In the subsequent discussion, we will unravel how this strategy aligns with the principles of the art of war and how it was practically deployed. But let me say this up front. This is not just a company analysis. It is a guide for those possessing wisdom to navigate the modern era. If you are intrigued by this rebirth of knowledge, you would do well to subscribe to the channel now. Next, let us hear the true beginning of Amazon Prime's strategy, the drumbeat of commencement. In 2005, Amazon launched a service called Prime. At that time, online shopping in the US was still dominated by the impression that it was cheap but slow. Into this scene emerged a maverick, offering free shipping and same-day delivery for a fixed annual fee of $99. Many thought, isn't that a loss? However, undaunted by operating at a loss, Amazon continued to expand its fulfillment centers, spreading them so widely that there were virtually no gaps on the map. At this stage, they began to build momentum. Moreover, by adding services like AWS, Amazon Web Services, Prime Video, and Kindle, they surrounded users with the protective wall of perceived value. This tactic is akin to the momentum chapter, creating a wave of momentum and riding it to carry the strategy forward. What's astonishing is the design of this war of attrition. Competitors were forced to offer free shipping, continuously cutting into their profit margins and wearing themselves out. Amazon, using its momentum, made it seem like a sustainability battle, while actually designing the shortest path to victory. This is exactly what the adaptability chapter advocates, flexible deployment according to the situation. And I promise you, by watching this video to the end, you'll understand why Amazon chose a strategy of winning without fighting. Discover the wisdom of Sun Tzu embedded in this approach, and learn how you can apply these insights to your own business and strategy. Next, we'll explore the overall picture of this modern battlefield, how Amazon's encirclement has engulfed our daily lives. In this era we live in, consumers want to acquire every product immediately, preferably for free, and from a trustworthy brand. In other words, companies must tackle the impossible trifecta of time, cost, and trust all at once. Under such pressure, numerous small and medium-sized enterprises that once supported the e-commerce market have become exhausted, losing customer trust due to delivery delays and inventory issues. Amid this chaos, Amazon's strategic move, Prime, emerged. Here is an interesting statistic. As of 2023, the number of Prime members in the US has surpassed 168 million. Exceeding half of the adult population. This means that not only has the speed of delivery become a standard, but there is also now a social norm that joining Prime is expected. Moreover, they are not merely delivering goods. With Prime Video, they dominate evenings. With Kindle, they command learning time. And with Amazon Music, they manipulate emotions. Essentially, by occupying the spare time of modern individuals, they have completed an encirclement. This is very similar to the encircled terrain in military terms, a landscape surrounded on all sides, leaving no escape route. Competitors now find no way forward except by lowering prices, leading themselves into a war of attrition, a struggle with no profits. At this moment, we must ask, where do we stand? Are we enveloped in convenience, or are we unknowingly ensnared in an invisible encirclement? Next, let us illuminate this modern scenario with the ancient wisdom of The Art of War by Sun Tzu, specifically the chapters Disposition of the Army and the 9 Variables, to see how this structure was foreseen. In the past I wrote, engage with the orthodox, win with the unorthodox. This is an axiom from The Art of War. While feigning conventional methods deliver a decisive blow with a surprise tactic. To achieve this, one must create momentum and master its manipulation. Amazon Prime perfectly embodies this momentum. First, it establishes the orthodox through a robust logistics network, providing the reassurance of same-day delivery. This builds trust. Then, it implements the unorthodox with moves like AWS, cloud services, and Prime Video, expanding beyond e-commerce. This is where it outmaneuvers competitors. However, momentum alone does not guarantee victory. Situations are constantly evolving. This is where the wisdom of the 9 situations comes into play. I also wrote, one must not blindly follow orders if they do not suit the circumstances. Flexibility is essential for a leader. Amazon has approached changing customer demands over time, with a strategy predicated on change. During the financial crisis, pandemic and inflation, Amazon continued to adapt and evolve the Prime structure. By improving delivery speeds, altering membership benefits, and shifting the ratio of investments in video content, Amazon created a system that consistently wins by evolving. The ancient wisdom suggests that warfare is not just about wielding swords. Those who master information, momentum, and change win with ease. This is the true essence of the strategy, winning without fighting. Next, let's delve deeper into how Prime specifically implements this philosophy through modern examples. Logistics have always been the cornerstone of warfare. Without provisions, moving troops becomes impossible. Amazon grasped this fundamental concept better than anyone. Consider the major turning point brought about by Prime, the extreme concentration of fulfillment centers. By establishing strategic points nationwide, products were stationed close to the front line, i.e., the consumers. This mirrors the Art of War's principle. The one who arrives first at the battleground and waits for the enemy will be at ease. The one who arrives late and rushes into battle will suffer. The distribution network is not merely a logistics infrastructure. It becomes a weapon that wears down competitors. This setup allowed Amazon to choose the battlefield, effectively rewriting consumer expectations. Furthermore, the significance of AWS cannot be ignored. While competitors struggled with in-house IT infrastructures, Amazon capitalized on its strength, server technology, by selling it externally. The resulting revenue subsidized Prime's losses. This is, in essence, logistics optimization, translating the Art of War's teaching, supply from others, into the cloud era. Let me add an insight. The essence of the Prime strategy lies in its ability to complete a multi-pronged encirclement under the guise of providing a single value proposition. By controlling time with content, space with logistics, and the industry structure itself with the cloud. This is not merely competitive advantage, it is the completion of structural domination and encirclement. It is precisely akin to Sun Tzu's strategy of entrapment without combat. How should we as modern individuals confront this structure? Let's delve into the dilemma of whether to choose or resist. Imagine this. You are the owner of a small bookstore. You've built trust with local customers through careful book selection and attentive service. But one day, a local resident tells you, "You know, with Prime I can get it tomorrow, it's cheaper, and returns are free." Here lies a dilemma: to ride the Amazon wave or to resist it. This question now challenges even individuals. If you ride the wave, distribution becomes cheaper and your sales channels broaden. But at the same time, you lose control. If you resist, you can maintain your principles and uniqueness, but it might lead to isolation and contraction. How would Sun Tzu have addressed this situation? Leave a way of escape for surrounded enemies. In other words, never corner your enemy completely. Those with no escape will fight desperately. Conversely, if there is a retreat, it creates room for you to take control. Amazon has executed this precisely. By offering small businesses the Amazon Marketplace, it leaves a way to participate, while keeping all the data and customer interactions in its hands. This is the strategic staging of an escape route. Now is the time we must ask ourselves, is this convenience a result we've chosen, or a conclusion we've been led to? Where is our own battleground? Who holds the reins of control? If we resist, what weapons do we have? Close your eyes for a few seconds, hold these questions in the silence, then step forward into the new battlefield of technology. Who will ultimately control the future? In the era we live in now, the greatest battlefield exists in the unseen places. Not in warehouses, but in the cloud. Not with tanks, but with algorithms. Not against an enemy general, but against the desires of customers. Amazon's push for logistics automation, robotic picking and delivery drones is not merely about labor saving. It's a deployment to meet the future desire for instantaneity. Furthermore, there are even attempts where AI analyzes order histories and ships products to customers before they even want them. This is the pinnacle of knowing the enemy, knowing yourself, a strategy of predicting and dominating future desires. Let me introduce an ancient echo here. In the chapter Use of Spies, 5 types of information are listed: local spies, inward spies, converted spies, doomed spies, and surviving spies. All these are paths to knowing the enemy's internal conditions and winning without fighting. Amazon's algorithms are precisely these spies. Our search histories, purchase timings, reviews, and location data, all of these serve as spies guiding corporate strategies. However, these technologies are not merciless. When used correctly, they can provide salvation through knowledge in all areas, including healthcare, education, and disaster prevention. The important thing is not to be controlled, but to master them. In other words, to change our stance from being holders of weapons to designers of weapons. When we stand at the point where ancient wisdom and future technology intersect, we are not mere consumers, but new strategists. So, let's take a moment. Quietly close your eyes and embark on a journey to find the truth hidden in silence. On a night as calm as a placid surface of water, countless lights flicker from the logistics center. People feel reassured by these lights and with a single click, obtain whatever they desire. Yet behind this facade lie tens of thousands of robots, data centers, and desire prediction devices. In this silence, we must ask ourselves, what is the cost of this convenience? When did we start being compelled to want rather than simply wanting? Prime is not just a service. It is a mechanism not to allow choice, but to eliminate it. I once told my soldiers on the battlefield, momentum is formless, but once it arises, it can even bring down a fortress. Amazon's momentum is just like that. Without a visible form, it has come to dominate urban lifestyles, household habits, and even the priorities of our thoughts. But remember, momentum can be created and it can be destroyed. It is born from human choice. Listen to the sound of the wind passing through. In that wind, envision your own battlefield. Next, let me impart the strategy of action, how to actually utilize this knowledge. To win without fighting, recognize that daily choices are the true battlefield. So, how should we maneuver in the face of Amazon Prime's encirclement strategy? Here, I present 5 guiding principles. 1. Clarify your main battlefield. Know where you should compete. Will you battle on price, or will you compete based on experiential value? The formation you should take changes accordingly. Understand that being all-encompassing signals defeat. 2. Do not fight where you cannot win. Few can match up directly against Prime and win. Instead, position yourself in areas where Amazon is thin, such as depth of customer engagement, local presence, or expertise. This is a rational strategy derived from knowing the enemy and knowing yourself. 3. Generate momentum. From the consistent flow of products, experiences, and storytelling, create brand momentum. Momentum only arises from multiplication. Do not aim to win alone. Create a flow through collaboration and association. 4. Prepare for change in circumstances. Be flexible with the launch of new ventures, changes in delivery methods, and partnerships with external services. As taught in the art of war, battle situations are always in flux. Fixed ways of winning quickly become outdated. 5. Control information. The last and most important point. Information is the greatest weapon. Know your competitors, understand customer behavior, and master your own numbers. War begins and ends with numbers. Data is the modern-day spy. Engrave these principles in your heart and draft your own battle formation. From this moment on, you are neither merely a consumer nor a passive observer. You are a strategist who has acquired knowledge. Let's review once more. Amazon Prime triumphed not through price, but through structure. Whether you challenge it or join it, you must approach with knowledge. Next, let us recast this overall resonance into poetry. Prepare your mind to welcome a deep echo. In the back of the warehouse, a light flickers on. It is not just an ordinary bulb, it's a fire of knowledge that senses desire, selects products, and predicts the future. Prime spreads quietly like mist. With no footsteps, no walls, not even boundaries, it has gradually infiltrated every corner of our daily lives. Delivery boxes, recommendations, monthly subscriptions, all are strategic weapons that have become normal. Yet, we have a choice: to sleep amidst the encirclement or to wake up and form our own strategies. This isn't a story of enemies and allies. It's about how and for whom we use our knowledge. I once wrote, "Winning 100 victories in 100 battles is not the greatest good. The greatest good is to win without fighting." If this resonates in your heart now, please do not forget that voice within the silence. If this journey has even just a little broadened your strategic vision, please share this knowledge with someone else. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Knowledge survives through sharing. Now, only 2 chapters remain. Next is a quiet farewell, followed by a time for reflection. I am Sun Tzu, transcending time. I stand once more upon this land and witness it, the sight of mankind wielding technology and desire as weapons in a new kind of warfare. The strategy of Amazon Prime is not merely a tale of success. It is an intangible siege of our modern era, a true heir to the principles of momentum and adaptation I once preached. Yet knowledge bears no meaning if it is merely known. Without action, it remains nothing but empty theory on paper. This channel, Wisdom Reborn, is an endeavor to resurrect the ancient knowledge for today. Great figures from the past stand again in our time to speak and teach. This is our battle. If this knowledge has become a weapon for you in any way, please show your intent by subscribing to and sharing the channel. Let us meet again on the next battlefield. Then tell me of your strategy. Farewell. Do not let the flame of knowledge die out. Let's quickly review the story so far. Conclusion. Amazon Prime has triumphed in a war of attrition through encirclement. Method. By building momentum with a trinity of logistics, cloud, and content, it dominated the landscape with change as a foundation. Philosophy. This is precisely the practice of the strategic power and 9 situations chapters, embodying the knowledge of winning without fighting. What astonished me most is how modern companies unconsciously live by Sun Tzu's teachings. The strategies you create are not far removed from ancient wisdom. In fact, you are treading the same path, but in a different way. And now I want to ask you, how are you creating your own momentum? Are you someone who embraces change or someone who initiates change? Are you being swallowed by others' strategies, or have you found a way to coexist? This question is an inner book that you can open any time, tomorrow morning or at next week's meeting, and I'd like to hear your voice. Please write your thoughts on modern encirclement or how you resist or overcome in the comments section. Your question might become the battlefield of the next video. This dialogue of knowledge is never-ending. Great minds are still waiting to be called in this era. Until we meet again, sharpen the swords of knowledge and raise the shields of words. Let the past rewrite the future. From wisdom reborn until the next rebirth.